three, four, five. Hey YouTube, today we're gonna deploy two virtual machines that we're gonna use for our web servers, and we're gonna use a load balancer to balance the traffic between those two machines. So first thing we're gonna be doing is to configure a cloud shell, and let's wait for it to load. We're gonna be using bash. We're gonna show advanced settings, select the region, and make sure your storage account name is unique with lower cases. The file share, it doesn't have to be unique, but the storage account has to be a unique name. Cloud shell is ready, the bash environment. So we're gonna come to this thing is settings, text file. Let's make it large so that people can see on their screens, and so we can clear the screen. So let's get the resource group first. Az group list, and let's copy the group name. Let's clear the screen, and now let's create a VM. Az create G for resource group. Let's paste. Let's give it a name, VM1 image. Let's use Ubuntu LTS. Let's give it admin, username. Let's give it Lesager, and let's generate SSH keys. Let's use the no wait. I want to use the bash environment after that, so it will create in the background. And I'm just gonna press the upper arrow on the keyboard to access the commands that I've used. So I'm just gonna edit the name of the VM and name it VM2, and now it's gonna deploy, and it will do that in the background. So you can come and check here. Okay, so what we're gonna do, VM1 we will install Nginx, and VM2 we will install Apache, so that when we are testing if our load balancer is working, so one page will load Nginx, when we refresh we will get Apache there and there and there. So that's when you know the load balancer is working and it's sending traffic to both VMs. So let's go back to bash. I need to SSH into the machines to install the to install the web server. Is it a web server software? Let's just call it that for now. So let's get AZ network public IP addresses so that we can SSH into those. What did I misspell? Table. Really? That's not how AZ network. AZ network is AZ network. AZ list. Here they are. I didn't specify list. I was confused myself for a moment. Let's SSH into the first VM. So we're gonna paste the IP address, press enter. After that, yes, And let's update. So we now logged in into one VM1. We are no longer using a cloud shell. We are into a Linux machine now. So let's update first. Sudo apt update. We can now install sudo apt, yeah, install Apache 2. Yes, I want to continue. And now we are done, so we're just gonna exit into the first the VM1, and then we're gonna log into another VM. So let's just clear the screen and let's press the upper arrow to access the previous comments we used. Commands we used. I'm confusing the word comment and commands, but it's fine. SSH need second public IP, this one, and now let's press enter. So we just gonna sudo apt update just like we did in the previous one. And now let's install nginx. Sudo apt install nginx. Yes, I want to continue. And now we are done. We can exit this. So let's come here, open link in a new tab. So what I want to do now is to go to the network interface, cut off these two VMs to disassociate the public IP addresses, because a load balancer will have a public IP address that both VMs will use as a backend pool. So let's come to NIC, search NIC here at the search bar, and let's go to VM1 VM1 VM NIC, and let's disassociate under IP configurations. And here it is. Yeah, we're just gonna disassociate the public IP and save, and then come here to network interface card for VM2. So we're just gonna repeat the same process we did. Come to IP configurations and disassociate that one, and save. So this one is not yet done. Okay, the first one is done. Let's wait for the second one. Oh, it's also done. So now let's come to public IP addresses. So I'm gonna delete these two because we no longer need them. And because public IP addresses are not for free, so you're gonna pay for them if you are not using them. So it's best you delete the ones you are not using. And while this is deleting, let's look for a load balancer and start configuring the load balancer. Click create. Yes, we have successfully deleted those. Now let's create a load balancer, a resource group, and let's give it a name of load. So this is gonna guess the previous things I've done because I did this in the morning and my system crashed and everything was not saved. So that's why I'm actually sounding so down. The location is East US. So yeah, the SKU we're gonna use the standard SKU, and Azure recommends this standard SKU for production. And the basic one, I just found out in the morning that it's gonna retire in September 2025. So let's just go with standard. Let's make it public. But you can also use an internal one if you don't want, if you're not gonna be using it for a public web server or something. So let's configure a front end. Just gonna give it front front end, use IPv4. Let's create a new public IP, give it the name of IP, use Microsoft Network, it's fine. And what else? Let's add. And now let's backend pool, we add our virtual machines that we created. Let's give it a name. Let's just say backend pool, select the visual network, and if you have scale sets, you will also see an option to add them here. So we're gonna add VM1 and VM2, save, and we can review and create. We'll configure the rest when the load balancer has been deployed. So let's wait for validation to pass. Click create after that. Don't forget, if validation passed and you think you clicked create, you didn't. So you have to click create to make sure that it's deploying. And now we're gonna wait for it, and after that we're gonna configure load balancing rules. Our load balancer is completed. Now let's go and configure the rest. So we got a front end IP that we did. We got our back end pools. Now we need to configure a health probe and load balancing rules. So let's add, what is it? A health probe, yeah. Let's give it a name of health. TCP protocol 80 interval. So a health probe is just to check if our load balancer is healthy. So also our VMs. So every 5 seconds, I think it's gonna check if the VMs or the backend pool is properly working. So if one VM is down, it's gonna direct all the traffic to another VM. So and we're gonna configure load balancing rules, and let's give it the name of rules: front end IP, the one we created; backend pool, the one we created; port 80, or backend port, we're also gonna name 80, a health probe. And we are done with this one. So the next step, because we used a standard SKU when we were creating our load balancer, by default you can access that, the public can access a standard SKU by default, so you have to use NSGs. So if we copy the front end IP and try to load the web page, it's not gonna load. So we have to open the port 80 on NSGs, and then we are done. So it's taking long, as you can see. So let's go to our virtual machines, and let's open port 80 on one VM, and this web page will start working. As you can see, this site can be reached. Under the VM, we go to networking and add an inbound rule. As you can see, there isn't any port 80 open, so we're just gonna leave source any HTTP port 80, and priority, we are good to go. So after a couple of seconds, this page will start working. And we should be good for now. Let's reload. Let's also reload this page and reload this page too. Should work. What? Yes, here it is. It took long, but we are fine now. The Apache one. So let's go for VM 2 and open port 80. Under networking, let's open port 80. HTTP, and we are good to go. So let's paste the public IP again. And the rule has been created. Now what's happening now? Okay, let's just paste the public IP. This is not the same IP. What's happening? This is okay. Let's check something. Oh, we were using a wrong IP address. That's why. Uh yeah. So our front end IP it's 20246. Yeah. So here you can see we loaded Nginx and Apache, and our lab is done for today. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching till the end.